Welcome to SVG-TV News for Wednesday, April 29th, 2020. I am Rochelle Baptiste with the details. SVG on Tuesday recorded its 16th positive COVID-19 case. A news release from the COVID-19 task force issued last evening said the new case is closely associated with the last 3 cases reported by the Caribbean Public Health Agency, CAFRA, and forms part of a small cluster of import-related cases. There are now 8 active cases of COVID-19 in the country, with 8 persons who have fully recovered. The Health Services Subcommittee is reminding Vincentians of the importance of maintaining the effective public health measures currently in place, which it said have served to reduce the spread of COVID-19 in SVG. The Task Force Subcommittee said the safe use of face coverings, including homemade masks, along with hand hygiene, cough etiquette, and physical distancing must be strictly adhered to, along with compliance to quarantine and isolation instructions. More than 1,000 persons here have reportedly applied for unemployment benefits from the National Insurance Services NIS. This was announced at a press conference today by Minister of Finance Camilo Gonzalez while giving an update on the rollout of the government's COVID-19 stimulus package. Minister Gonzalez said while most of the persons who applied for the unemployment benefits are from the tourism and hospitality sector, there is a high percentage from the education sector.
It's 975 people to be precise as of Friday gone. And in speaking with Stuart Haynes at the NIS up to yesterday, I know that those numbers have increased beyond the 1,000 mark since then. The majority of the people who applied, about 30% of the people who applied were in the accommodation, tourism, hospitality sector. And a surprising number, at least for us, was the education sector, and when you 139 people in that sector, and when you look into it, you realize it is the preschool teachers from the private preschools that shut down. So education, those people who take care of the youngest children, those preschools shut down early, and those teachers are applying for benefits.
Those who qualify for the unemployment benefits are expected to receive $300 once they were laid off anytime after March 1st. The National Insurance Services will also be providing a displacement supplementary income which deals specifically with the hospitality sector. The construction industry is also feeling the effects of COVID-19, and Minister Gonzalez said based on data from the NIS, more than 2,000 persons will be out of a job.
Employers who employ about 1,200 employees, and they've received letters from those employers saying that they have either closed, they are in the process of closing, or they're going to scale back significantly. So you're seeing the numbers as they're evolving. The NIS, if you recall, has a $2 million budget set aside to fund this unemployment benefit, and they anticipated about 2,000 people coming on when they did their projections. At this rate, it suggests that the number may exceed 2,000 people who are affected.
Just under 400 omnibuses here have reportedly registered to benefit from the government subsidy payment, and as a result there will be an automatic increase in the monies each of the registered bus operators will receive. This was also announced at today's press conference by Minister of Finance Camilo Gonzalez, who said that instead of the $250 payment, the registered 18-seater buses will now receive $450 and 24-seaters $550.
If you are a minibus operator and you have registered with the Ministry of Transport and Works, as has been explained, and the registration period is open over the last couple of weeks, you are eligible for between $450 and $550 a month, depending on whether you are an 18-seater or a 26-seater. And that is a 2-month benefit. So if you're registered, that money will be processed through the Ministry of Transportation and Works. You go to you take your registration, you go to the Ministry of Transportation and Works, and if you have an 18-seater, you'll get $450 a month instead of the original $250 a month that we had discussed. You'll get $450 a month for 2 months, and if you have a 26-seater, you'll get $550.
The Ministry of Transport was expecting 1,400 omnibuses to register for the subsidy payment. However, the Finance Minister said that there were less omnibuses operating as public transportation. As it regards to taxi operators, the Ministry of Tourism is responsible for the financial assistance, and a one-time payment of $500 or $2,000 will be made.
Large buses, the big tour buses, you'll get a one-off payment of $2,000. If you are a taxi driver registered with the Ministry of Tourism, you will get a one-off payment of $500. And there's also a payment available for water taxi operators, similarly registered. So, tour bus operator, taxi driver, taxi operator, you take your proof of registration that you're registered with the Tourism Authority, you take it to the Ministry of Tourism, and they will process your one-off payment of $2,000 or $500.
Vendors or small business operators who are affected by COVID-19 can benefit from the government's interim assistance program once they are registered with the Town Board. This is according to the Finance Minister, who explained that registration commences on Monday for this vulnerable group of people who may be impacted by the COVID-19 economic fallout.
If you are a vendor and you are registered with Town Board, my understanding is that there are about 600 such vendors operating in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. You are also eligible for $200 a month, but not for the entire year. You're eligible for $200 a month for 3 months in the first instance, because most of these benefits are 3-month benefits, and we'll see how this thing goes before we decide what else to do. If you are registered with Town Board, you apply at Town Board starting on Monday. You go in, there'll be a form to fill out, they will establish that you're registered with Town Board, they'll make the necessary evaluations, and you are eligible for $200 a month for 3 months.
There is still uncertainty as to the date for the repatriation of Vincentian sailors who have been on cruise ships for weeks, not working and unable to disembark due to the COVID-19 pandemic. At today's news conference, Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves said that the Center for Disease Control in the U.S. has not yet cleared sailors with Royal Caribbean Cruise Line who are expected to start returning home tomorrow, April 30th. Some sailors have, however, complained that they receive information that the delay for their return home was due to certain demands being made by the government of SVG. The Prime Minister, however, reiterated at today's press conference that his government is in no way responsible for the delay of the 300+ sailors with Royal Caribbean, and that he was informed that there are now more than 1,000 sailors who would like to return home.
We have over 1,000 persons who are out there who would like to come in. Clearly, these have to be sequenced. The 300 from Royal Caribbean, I don't think that is the full number from Royal Caribbean, you know. Because the agent down here tells me there's about 1,300 on Royal Caribbean. Admittedly, some have come home, but not a large number to dent that over 1,000 on Royal Caribbean alone.
The initial agreement was for sailors to travel by air. However, on a radio program yesterday, the Prime Minister said this will no longer be the case, as the sailors are now expected to be brought home by cruise ships. The Prime Minister, however, emphasized the need for the sailors to adhere to the protocols in place, including the quarantine conditions, which he said at today's news conference will be enforced by local authorities.
A lot of persons who are working on the ships or who are out there don't have the space in their houses to do quarantining in their homes. You take from BVI, a man called me from BVI, somebody from Sharps. He's part of a construction company, the 30 of them want to come home. He said, listen to me, Prime Minister, my house has 5 persons in it. It's a 2-bedroom house with 1 bathroom. I can't come and quarantine there. So you have to send the names first of persons whom we must make contact here for you and where you live, so that we are going physically and examine the place, you know. Of the 19, some of them realize because their houses are not appropriate, they have a little bit more money, they rent.
The Prime Minister said that persons need to have a better understanding of the matter at hand, which has a number of implications.
You have to put the requisite security. If it's 1,000, and even if you have 1,000 proper homes, do I have 1,000 policemen to put? You know, I just ask for some sensible reflection and consideration in these things. Obviously, it becomes easier if you have a large number to have them at hotels or guest houses, where you can, at 4 or 5 locations, where you can provide the security and centralize the nurses going and so on and doing all the checks, etc., etc.
Social activist Joel Poyer is advising all unrepresented workers in the country to either join a union or create one. Poyer's encouragement comes ahead of International Labour Day, which will be observed on Friday, May 1st, to recognize the struggles of workers and give them a greater sense of worth. With the COVID-19 pandemic wreaking havoc on economies worldwide, Poyer believes workers will bear the brunt of the impact and stresses the importance for their rights to be protected.
It is important workers know their rights in these crucial times, because, believe you me, after COVID-19 is over, we will see this sort of situation that will come out throughout the world that will impact on workers in a negative way. Because the impact that business is having on a whole, the one that are going to face the brunt of it are workers. From government, go right back to the private sector. Because government will say right now, because of what went on, the economy take a blow. So who you expect to take the squeeze for it? Workers. And especially the lower echelons of workers. People need to start to understanding where their strength and their loyalty lies. It lies within themselves, not to politicians, not to parties. It belongs to the labor movement, and once the labor movement is strong, workers will have a better pay package to go home. They will enjoy a better working condition, and they will have a voice.
The social activist says most laws designed to protect workers are woefully inadequate.
There's no negotiation. They give you whatever they want. As you could see, saw what happened in the last 10 days. Okay? Even with the reclassification, that is an incomplete issue. There are so much anomalies that are affecting workers in the service from that. Okay? The workers and who work by the stores in Mill Street, ever so often, no NIS and all those things that are not paid in for them, no benefit. One have a child just the other day, and when she go and check in for maternity money, there's nothing paid in for her. And these are some of the things that workers are facing. Where do they go to? Our labor laws and labor act are woefully inadequate and need to be addressed. Look how often business close up and leave. And who feel the brunt of it? Workers. No severance pay. No holidays pay. They go on a month and month of earning. And where can they get redress? Nowhere. The benefit that NIS that was supposed to be paid in, not paid in. But yet still we have a labor government.
Poya, who is a former grievance officer, says it is in the best interest of workers not to use the situation with COVID-19 to be lazy and unproductive.
And likewise also too, I am calling on workers to up the game and be more productive. Because under this COVID thing, a lot of people is using COVID to be unproductive, lazy, lethargic, and dishonest. I must say that. It has people using this as an excuse to do their own personal thing and staying away from work. And in this time, we don't want that to happen. We want the optimum productivity while protecting ourselves. And people need to do better than that. Because if we don't do that, at the end of the day, when this is over, is we are the ones who are going to be facing the burn.
As the economic impact of the coronavirus continues to become more pronounced, some local businesses have been implementing innovative measures to help stay afloat. The tourism sector is the hardest hit, with many hotels left with empty rooms, forcing some to close their doors. Here on the mainland, the impact could be seen on the South Coast Strip, where many hotels are located. Our news team caught up with representatives of the Sunset Shows Hotel and Mango's Restaurant, who highlight how COVID-19 has impacted business and how they have been able to keep their operations afloat.
Because right now we're empty. We had cancellations, all cancellations, and most of the hotels in St. Vincent have cancellations too. And we have been trying to stay afloat by, we remain partially open, we keep our staff on, and we're staggering our staff as we go along. But there comes a time, if we're not sure when we will be able to reopen fully, we'll have to look at something else along the way. Yes. You just call and let us know what you would like to have. We'll even let you know what our menu is. You call, we'll tell you what the menu is for the day, and you can come. You just call and make a reservation.
Is there anything in particular Vincent seems to love to get from Sunset Shows?
Oh yes, we have the best grilled steak and chicken. Yeah. With vegetables, all health conscious. So make sure that you have the best. Yes. And we have local juices.
Had a huge impact negatively on the business because we went from 17 staff to 3 staff right now, just trying to stay afloat. So basically what we do, we trying to offer a lot of takeouts, people can call in, have their orders done and pick up, because we don't really do a delivery service, but you can call ahead, at Mango's, order whatever you need and we take it out for you, prepare it. And thing, especially our pizza, we have a very, very good pizza that was selling rapidly. That's very good. But besides that, you can get any meal on our menu.
Is there any other food you think they might want to come and get from you guys, considering the visitors are not there and you have to rely on locals?
Well, yeah, that's a tough question because all our meals here are pretty good and so forth. All our meals are pretty good. We have a fish cake that sells pretty good and a coconut shrimps, very good. So yeah, but it's all our meals are pretty good. But for now, the pizza takeout wise, the pizzas have the top right now.
Social distancing continues to be encouraged, and both entities have been doing their part to adhere to the guidelines while keeping their operations going.
And we have since set up our dining room for social distancing, or physical distancing as they call it now, and so that persons can come in and enjoy a meal. We do not encourage big groups. we make sure that our dining room could just accommodate 10 persons at any time. But we're still open. You just call and you make a reservation and we will be happy to help you.
To come and have, we kind of spread the air to not having the tables too close like we used to. So we take out a few tables and the remaining tables we kind of put them in a distance so that even though you come and sit and eat, you're not that close to everyone. And at the entrance there's a little sanitizer. You can help yourself. There's one at the bar also. So, we're taking cautions and so forth. Yeah.
Two local fashion designers have collaborated to produce a line of reusable cloth face masks for the public to aid in the prevention of the spread of COVID-19. Crystal Oliver, founder of emerging fashion and accessory brand Olive Art, and Kimia Glasgow, founder and creative director of fashion and lifestyle brand Kimia Glasgow. The U.S. Center for Disease Control recommends wearing cloth face coverings in public settings where other social distancing measures are difficult to maintain. According to Glasgow, after seeing on the news that internationally medical-grade masks were becoming scarce, there was a concern that this could eventually become an issue here in SVG as well. Hence, she reached out to fellow fashion designers and manufacturers to coordinate and prepare an effort to produce masks for the Vincentian public. Glasgow said the masks are contoured and lined and produced in several sizes to ensure proper fit to the face to prevent readjustment and possible self-infection. Oliver, on the other hand, is urging persons to remain focused, listen to credible sources, and follow the guidelines by the health authorities.